Hello, everyone. My name is Kirk Shannonbutt. I am the Public Art and Curation Manager for the Baltimore Office of Promotion in the Arts. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is the 32nd annual Open Studio Tours with BOPA. This year, we are going virtual. So all of our programming is virtual this year. So we have a really exciting panel tonight discussing innovation, imagination, isolation during a pandemic. So before we get started, we're going to take a look at our very first virtual exhibition, B2020. So B2020 represents and provides a platform for some of the best emerging talent here in Baltimore. And here we go. Okay, so I never tire of looking at that show. It's so beautiful. It was a real pleasure to curate that show and look at all the pieces that the artist sent in. It's a really strong show. I wish we could show it in person, but I definitely did my best to find a platform in a virtual situation that would really make you feel like you were transported to a real industrial style New York loft, downtown Chelsea gallery. And in fact, the inspiration was the Dia, which is in Beacon, about an hour away from New York City. And I think it was successful. So I'm going to now allow the artists to introduce themselves. We're going to start with Kayla Fryer.
Fryer. Hi, my name is Kayla Fryer. I'm a painter, printmaker, curator, arts administrator. Yeah.
So next we're going to go to Christopher Batten.
All right, hi everybody. I'm Christopher Batten. I am mostly a painter, draftsman. I'm also an art educator as well, and sometimes I dabble in installation.
So next we're going to go to Mckinley Wallace III.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mckinley Wallace III. I also wear many hats. I am a painter, drawer, sculptor, actor. I do community theater and also act through Johns Hopkins. And I'm a pre-service teacher. So I'm in graduate school to be an educator in Maryland. So, pleasure.
So next we're going to have Will Watson. Will?
What's up, everybody? I'm Will Watson. I am a visual artist. I wear many hats, like a lot of everybody else. But I also just primarily focus on painting. I'm also an arts educator in Baltimore City Public Schools. Shout out to Montebello Elementary.
Right. So we're going to jump right into it. So first I want to acknowledge our sponsors. First, we have the Maryland State Arts Council, MSAC, and also we have Reka Vaca, who were generous enough to support our undertakings this year as we go virtual. So we definitely want to acknowledge them. So it's really interesting that this is the open studio tour because except Mckinley, all of you are really, and Kayla, we didn't have a proper studio visit, but we were working together. So I felt like through verbally, you were walking me through your studio and what you wanted to be doing in the future, which is now. And so that's kind of ironic that the talk, which was together, but it was really a virtual prediction, right? So I want to ask everyone, so on March 12th, when everything sort of shut down, what were you doing? That was the night of Amani Lewis and Aaron Fostel show. They were supposed to open that night. So the mayor did not shut the city down until maybe 4 o'clock. So that whole day we were working because we didn't know, so we couldn't stop the work. And then finally, I think it was like 4:30, he said, we can't do this. And so where were you on March 12th?
I can say that I left work early. I left work early and wanted to come to the show. So I was actually on my way to come to the show and I was super excited. I took a stop at Creative Alliance to see the show that they had opened. And I found out the news while I was at Creative Alliance already, waiting for the show to open up. And I was just like, you're joking. You're kidding. I was so excited to see that show. And then I ended up going to Costco.
Was it crowded?
And it was a lot of people, y'all. It was a lot of people. I wasn't expecting it. I was talking to Thomas, and I was like, I don't think this is serious, y'all. This is a joke. This isn't serious. No, when I saw those people packed in Costco, I realized how real it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually still in residence at the Creative Alliance. So yeah, I was just kind of downstairs enjoying the show, and then yeah, it was just like wow. So I just kind of realized I'd be locked in my studio for a while. So which wasn't such a bad thing. I had a couple pieces going at that time, even though I was preparing to leave the Creative Alliance a few months later. But yeah, it was pretty surreal, and to see traffic slowly stop over the days and no people outside, and it was just like whoa, like it was pretty crazy.
Well, I was definitely one of those people. I stayed in for at least a month. I did not go out. I went to the mailbox, which was like literally the mailbox was like 10 steps. And then to put the trash out, which was like 20 steps. That was it. I did not go anywhere. I took it very seriously from the beginning. Right.
Oh, where I was that day or the day before, I just introduced a new project at City Neighbors Hamilton. So I was really excited. Spent a lot of time like lesson planning for this. And yeah, as soon as I found out, I just got home, and then my girlfriend was like, "We gotta go!" Like, and I think the same thing, like like Kayla was mentioning, we got to go to a grocery store, get all our stuff. Everybody's gotta get packed. So I think I was also kind of like, we have time, it's okay. And then we actually do go like at 7 o'clock, and then lots of stuff is gone already. So it was definitely like a wake up call. Pretty intense one. But yeah, similar to Christopher too. I am in my apartment right now. My studio is in my one bedroom. So I had it was cool to know that I could still have access to my studio when things were shutting down to work.
Right, that's important. Right. So Will, Kyrie.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I was downtown actually at Ida B's
What?
eating I was I was hanging out with Ernest Shaw. Yeah, I was at Ida B's, man. Me and Ernest Shaw. We were on our way. We were literally on our way, like about to walk out of Ida B's.
Oh, wow.
And Governor Hogan was like, "Yep, everything shut down."
That's
I've been
crazy.
meaning to go there. I've been meaning to go to that restaurant.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah,
we were there. We ate and everything.
That's crazy. I know the first time like, I had stayed in for a whole month, and the first time I went out, I just remember being in line and someone was like a little close, and I was not happy, not at all. Like, and I know I got people are still getting used to it, but I was real serious about you need to back up immediately.
No, that's
Yeah, you give him that little side eye, like
you need to back up.
that's earlier. I think it wasn't that Costco. I think it was like maybe like a month in, I went to Costco again. And this lady was real close. Y'all was like, does she not know? Does she not know
Right. Right. It was real crazy watching people's behavior, and now today everyone seems to really be on board and wearing masks, and it's really weird. Like in 7 months, we have a whole new lifestyle. We have a whole new normal. So so how are you approaching work, and has this changed? What, Christopher, you said you were working on some things. Has this whole pandemic kind of created or sparked a whole new series that you need to do, or another voice or vision that you need to get out?
I think for me, it's kind of like, again, I'm starting to to realize just like how much time I have to create. I'm actually between studios right now, but what I've been doing is just doing like works on paper and studies in preparation for some of the larger pieces that I already had planned. Like I've been doing these studies of bugs because I've been using them in my pieces lately. So yeah, I've just been kind of doing that, pulling out my gouache and stuff that I haven't used in years, and
Right.
and just kind of playing around with that stuff. And let me see, this is one of them that I did last night. That's a cicada. So I plan on using that in a piece, and yeah, and then also being an art educator, it's forced me to focus on these like fundamental things again that I'm now teaching my students. So like using marks and color relationships and just basic shading and creating form. So like that's been helping me out too. So
Wow.
that's kind of how I've been approaching it.
Wow.
You know?
Who else?
I think a lot similar thoughts as an educator. There's been a lot of conversations. I'm in my next internship for my practicum, and I'm at Poly right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just getting exposure to different types of schools, and as far as access and resource versus lack of resource, to really see what that looks like, private versus public. And a lot of conversations and site visits, or what I did have when I was in person, and just kind of like asking other teachers if I can come into their rooms just to like see how they're teaching. A lot of conversations have been about like being present and figuring out ways to create connections online. And I think we have like some really cool programs that I feel like a lot of people or a lot of educators weren't using, whether it's Padlet or Jamboard, just to kind of like create a dialogue. But a lot of students are like definitely like tired and wanting to go back to school, and wanting that connection to come back, because they're like, this is too much. Like, so as far as that, seeing that people feeling alone and trying to figure out how to create a bond has been a thing. And also in my practice, it's all about people and all about interactions. The way I like place people close or far away, or to create that distance and atmosphere. I really do think content is similar, but really noticing like the overall space they occupy. I think I'm really starting to play around with distance and emptiness around people.
Right. And that was driven by COVID?
Huh?
You think that was driven by COVID?
I think so. I think a lot of time for me just to for COVID, since it was like pretty much a little bit close. It was in the spring, so pretty close to when I was about to stop my spring semester, my first year of graduate school. I was like, oh, well, I can use this time to make more work, to spend more time in my studio. And I think by just spending more time in my studio, I got to really play around with like different compositions. And I think it just caused me to evolve or think about composition and placing people differently than I was with, because if I'm making so many pieces at the same time, I'm just noticing some patterns that are like, oh, I should challenge myself to think about distance and space more, and dialogue more, or lack of.
Right.
So I think allowing me to just make more gave me more time to really like think about what I'm doing and how to improve it.
Right.
That's good.
Go ahead, Kayla.
Yeah, no,
I was going to say, I can piggyback off of Mckinley said about just experimenting a lot more and just spending time experimenting. With my work, I just start doing sketches as well, just playing around with colors, seeing what colors I would like to add into my work now, what new colors I want to immerse into it, and also being so structured with my facial expressions, or being more loose and kind of being more gestured, and seeing which style I like better. Do I like it better to use, full-blown oil throughout the whole painting, or do I like the essence of having like some emptiness with using acrylic and having that watercolor look to it and that quality? So I was able to really experiment and a lot of research during that time, but also it was a lot of time spent in my head and like doing no work too, because it was like, it felt for a while that I was kind of stuck. Like in the beginning, I was a bit stuck, and it was like not even a creative block. I just didn't even have the energy at the time. At some points, didn't even have the energy to continue working once everything was shut down. I couldn't go to work anymore. I was still doing my my fellowship. I was still working, but everything was online. And it was kind of overwhelming in the beginning, before I was able to find my footing to really get back to that place of creativity. And yeah, it was definitely challenging to just push myself over the ledge. I'm grateful for having, the group that I'm a part of to really push me and tell me, hey, what you doing? They showing me pieces of what they're doing. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm trying to get over how I'm feeling right now to even create something. And so that really helped me to like navigate through this moment. And I think later on, once I was able to realize that, hey, these paintings have a voice, or this work has a voice in the midst of this chaos, in the midst of how we feel, in the midst of the writing, in the midst of, a lot of things that we were going through during that time. I was like, these paintings could be a voice for me. So then I just began to paint. I just began to just go for it. And like, yeah, that's kind of what happened.
Well, it's so weird because when I emerged from my little COVID cocoon and I was talking to artists, as a curator, and so many were telling me they weren't doing anything, and it was so shocking to me because I felt like it is the perfect time. And even if, like you said, I think it's important to even be in your head before you even put it on paper or canvas or video or whatever your medium is. Probably in your head is like the best place. But at some point you have to let it out or else.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, Kurt. Like early on, I like immediately the day they told me I didn't have to go back into the school building the next week, I saw that as an opportunity in my mind to get to work. So like I started off the thing kind of just like on fire and just like ready to go, like ready to just be in here. And I was kind of excited as like an artist not to have to leave my house because I was working from home. So I was like excited not to have to go nowhere and have like, all that time to just spend in my space, just working. But on the other side of that, once kind of the summer hit and, we were faced with, again, like a lot of the tragedies that happened this summer, like most people, there were moments when I kind of just didn't want to work at all, and I kind of had to like process a lot of those feelings throughout my studio practice this summer, because unlike any other moments, there were that was time that was by myself. I was in the studio alone. Like I didn't have people to come see the work. I didn't have people to come talk about the work. I didn't even have people. You had people you would call, but unlike being in those spaces where that's what you're used to. That resilience is something that was definitely gained and tested throughout this entire situation, and a lot of people are still kind of struggling with that. But from the jump, I was kind of on fire and just like really was hungry to just like be in that zone again. And I think right now I'm like Chris. I was transitioning spaces. I mean, I'm finally back into like my studio space, and I feel like that flame starting. It's almost like a gas oven when you turn it on, and it's just like tick 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 tick. Like so, I feel like I'm at that like tick 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 tick.
Right. I feel like that's
as soon as I'm able to kind of crack open that gam saw, it's
that's
on.
interesting, Will, because that was one of the reasons why we did the artist pop-up. Kayla, who's a part of Hot Sauce, along with James Massaquoi and Italo, and who else is in there, Kayla?
Alex.
Who am I leaving out?
Alex.
Alex. And so, we partnered to do something to make the art community as well as the public understand that you don't have to be completely isolated. You can come out as long as you're safe. And, as a curator, it's important to have platforms constantly and consistently to show artists, particularly emerging artists. I mean, it could really have been bad because they're the ones who are going to get lost first because you don't really know them anyway. So, when I presented that, it was kind of, people didn't know what to think, and I was like, well, we'll social distance, we'll wear masks, it'll only be 2 hours, so it's this whole pitch, and then talk.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, again, that was like just the perfect opportunity.
Right. I mean, the whole idea of a public art gallery, for me, it just, it's so important because I feel like so many people still, as we approach 2021, don't feel welcome in certain places. And although art is this, art should be like music to me. It's like everyone should be able to have it. It should be an equalizer, but still people, art still has this elitist quality to it. But obviously you guys you don't, you're not elitist, and the work that you do is, I'm thinking about Will. When I came to your studio, I was just so blown away because, you were working in fauxism but you don't even call it that. But for me, I was like, wow, this is amazing, and it made me, I'm a curator. I went back and did more work, research onto it because I was like, I love this genre. And then Christopher, when I came to see you, I was just really, your work is so stark and clean. And at the time I was like, what's going on with these bugs? But I loved it. I was like, what's going on? And then, McKinley, I saw your work at UB Blake. And I was immediately drawn to that. It was so powerful, but your work is so simple. And I think it's so interesting, like how a piece translate, because not seeing it in person, like we had the opportunity to do over the summer in a public space, if you don't see it there, it looks so huge, it looks unattainable. But it was in real life, it's not so huge. Right? And I love
perception. Yeah,
it's perception, right? And I think Kayla and I used to have this conversation. I love big art. I love the bigger the better. You like, it can't fit in the house. It's okay. I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I like it. So, so to see your pieces and then you're talking about history, but it's done in such a fresh, modern way, and it's like you have color block in your work, which is very, coming from my background, like color blocking is like fashion. So it has like an editorial feel to it. So it was really wonderful. And Kayla, so it was so interesting because, like I said, I hadn't been to your studio, but talking with you and then finally seeing your work at Creative Alliance. Remember, I came out and I was like, you have to be in my show. I came here to tell you.
Yeah.
And and now it's here. It's up to be 2020. So with that, how are you? Like you, Kayla, you said it's all in your head and you're working in your head. So that's imagination. So how do you get that out? Like, how do you see your work evolving or transitioning based on this new imagination? Because obviously you thought about your work before this, and this is for all of you. But now you have time, which is, we never have time ever, and now we have time.
Right. So for me, I am putting them first. I did a whole bunch of schedules. So I was part of the Art Box, right, for Creative Alliance, that October Art Box, and that allowed me to do a lot of my trial and errors. It allowed me to do, because I had a lot of this work on my head, right? I was thinking of trying to add in new colors. And I didn't know how to really do it. I didn't want to use my big canvases. Those cost money. So I was like, if I mess up and I ain't like it, I'm gonna be mad. I have to try to work with it. So I was like, nah, I can't do that. So with Creative Alliance doing the art box, it really, I was like, okay, well, this is pretty chill, dope. It's no pressure. I can just go for it. And when I did that, I was able to go crazy with the colors and things like that. And it made me realize also a lot of the pieces when I first started my series of using my blues and my pinks and focusing on male vulnerability and then the Black emotion and our feelings and just releasing those emotions. I started those back in college. And I was experimenting, and I didn't know where I was going with this at first. I didn't realize until I looked at my pieces and I realized what was my burden, that I decided what I wanted to do, what I wanted to display. And going to doing those was very loose. I really didn't have any thought of like, it has to be like this, because I didn't know what it needed to be like. I just let my emotions go forward and let the painting talk for itself. And I think with the pieces that I've done, even though I'm behind me, I really wanted the person that was viewing the work to see the person that I'm painting, because of what was going on of, you know, learning about Breonna Taylor and, you know, just so many other people who have died during this, you know, police brutality. It was like, I need people to see the face behind the emotion. I needed them to see the person and let them know that they are alive, they are well, this is a person, you know? And I think that's where that came from. When I really wanted to be more realistic, I really wanted to be more exact. I wanted you to know who the person is and can identify the person. But when I was doing those sketches, I was like, you know what? This is more fun. You know, it was definitely more fun, and it allowed me to release these emotions. And I don't think I need to necessarily be so exact anymore. Right. And that's what I realized while I've done the painting over the summer and then doing these, you know, sketches. It doesn't necessarily need to be so exact. Like boy blue and girl, you don't know who they are, right? You just see the emotion that is there and that is present. And that is what I want to convey. I want to continue to do that. So now I'm trying to blend the two of somewhat being able to identify the figure, but really identifying with the emotion more. So that's kind of like where I'm going and transformation. And also adding new colors to my palette. So still focusing on blues and pinks, but also adding yellows and orange, and adding texture to the paintings now too, to amplify it even more.
Right. Well, I definitely think the amplification is an evolution, and that's going to be great. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be nice.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
The question is like, how is our work evolving?
How imagination is inspiring you.
How imagination is inspiring it. I think a lot of, since there's definitely more time, like you said, I've been working a lot on Photoshop or like online, where like I just start thinking of all sorts of compositions and playing around with color and just experimenting and switching out images and shapes, because it, like you said, it does have that, my work does have that like editorial feel, because I'm working through a graphic software to kind of figure out how to create conversation. So because it's digital, I have the free reign of just changing everything and deleting and adding and deleting and adding, and like with a click of a button. So I think that was really helpful for me to just have a lot of time, also to experiment and just know that, like material in these moments where I could just spend a full day without really having to go anywhere during the summer, just to kind of play around and not have this kind of like burning desire or like need to produce or make something real. I can just like work out through all these ideas, save them, come back to them later, and then just delete them because I might have thought of something better, or save it into a file and say I'll come back to that later. But then just producing these images that are these visuals online, and I think at the same time, while I'm making those images, I'm also thinking about like strategizing ways for me, like as an educator, I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to connect with people online. That takes a lot of legwork, thinking about I guess mental work, thinking about what that would be like in the upcoming year. So I spent a lot of time planning stuff online, or at least on Photoshop, and then going through the labor, because I have time, just to make surfaces.
Right.
Going through that sort of meditation of just saying, I'm gonna make like 6 surfaces. I don't know what they're gonna be like yet, because I'm just designing ideas and switching them out on my computer. But I know these surfaces need to be done. So now, when I get into the school year, what's happened is that I have all these surfaces that I prepped, and I can just like now start to plot all of my ideas onto them. So I don't have to work. I had that time to put in that labor, to put in that thought, and now things are kind of like collapsing onto the work, like an accordion effect, where it's like, oh, this is good, because now I know I'm spending more time teaching, but I know like I did the prep work when I had a lot of time, because now it's like really trying to figure out how to connect with youth, and that takes a lot. You need to be fully present and aware with them.
Well, it's so interesting because I would think that the youth would be really into technology and learning from home, but they want to be back in school. That's crazy to me.
At least the ones I've
Oh, yeah, they
seen,
hate
they're
that.
like, because the asynchronous stuff and the tons of work, being behind a computer all day. Like at Poly, I don't know about other schools, but like my mentor, we come in at 8:30 and we stay till 4:00 all day. And the students have 6 hours of homework after class. And then they come back and then they get to work. So there has been a lot of conversations with youth, and they're just like, we're burnt out. We want to go back to school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even process that myself. Like, I don't know. I just thought that that was a quick innovation to switch all schools, digitally, because I feel like there have been digital or virtual universities for what, 30 years now? So I thought that the kids would, outside of course, seeing their friends, but I thought they're on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, that they would really adjust really well. That's really interesting to see the behavior and what you think may not be reality, right? So, so Will, I know you've had a lot of opportunities during COVID. I know you did the mural at Topside, and also you also opened up the artist pop up in Art in August. So, how did all that come about?
So honestly, I had a phone call conversation with an artist I respect early this year, and he told me, just be ready. He said, whatever that means to you, be ready.
Right.
So I kind of took that mindset over the summer. Was like, something's gonna happen after all of this is over. So
Right.
I need to make sure that I have something that documents what
Right.
what was here during that
Right.
time. So I just kind of just went for it, and it was kind of just taking a moment to just kind of be unafraid and unapologetic about it, and really kind of check in and take an opportunity to like give everything. Like after all of this stuff is kind of like chilled out, I haven't really been doing much because my mindset over the summer was like, you know, this nobody knows what this could be, and nobody can knows how this could end or when it will end. So why not put everything I have into the things that I love the most? So that's kind of how I was able to kind of just like push myself and just kind of like battle through a lot of that stuff.
And also,
on a tangent, but I got to the question right?
I think also people just need to recognize opportunity. You know, even in COVID, opportunities exist, and definitely because when I realized,
I mean, and honestly. Yeah, and especially with the pop up over the summer. I have been hitting, you know, some curators up like left and right, people that I know, like, yo, I just need somebody to come look at this stuff. Like, I just need somebody to look at it. You ain't even have to say nothing. Just come over and just put your eyes on it. Just somebody look at this work, please. And then you know, they hit me up about the pop up. And I was like, absolutely. I don't care what it is. It's outside.
right.
Let's make it work. You know, who's backing it? Boca, even greater. Like, let's make it happen. Like, you know, I was just really anxious for that opportunity to just show my work, and have an opportunity to connect with the community in a different way.
Absolutely.
That's what I think is a little bit different. My work kind of speaks to the community in a large way, and I think about the spaces where my work is usually shown. It's not entirely accessible to those spaces. Is that their fault? No. Is it my fault? Not entirely, but it's just the institution. We ain't gonna go there. But you know, having that opportunity to just like put my stuff outside and see, you know, people who are literally just walking down the street kind of turn their head and like, yo, what is this? Right. And, you know, from what we thought would be nothing, you know, we didn't really know who would show up that day. And it turned out to be a crowd of maybe like, you know, we won't say the numbers, but everybody was social distance and it was all safe. And everybody had on masks, all that good stuff. Donald Trump wasn't there, so he, you know, so nobody caught corona.
Right. And you know, it's interesting how, because that's kind of like the transformation of imagination. You know, all of you, your work are so different, but the imagination that is translated from all the craziness that was going on up into COVID, you know, and so now you have a whole new set of things to add onto your work, more layers and textures, if you will, from the society, from our culture, from the nation that we happen to live in. So it's going to be so interesting as a curator, because I see collectively where you can focus on your one canvases, you know, your work, your practice, but it's going to be interesting to see what trends come out from there, and how artists, particularly artists who are not African American, how they respond to what's going on, right? Because even COVID affected African Americans differently. So what will the whole landscape of art look like, you know, like in maybe 3 years after people have fully processed it and maybe we are out of it? And, you know, like you said, Kayla, you're in your head. So now all that can be on your canvas, and your performance, and your music, and your dance. I'm sure dance probably will be really amazing, you know, coming from, you know, out of shells and out of out of darkness and being in the light. I'm really looking forward to see how that's going to play out. So I'm curious how it'll play out in your work as well.
Yeah, like one of the things that I started to get into before COVID was kind of reflecting on my life experiences and doing like the introspection needed to kind of pull those things back into my work, or the things that I learned from those experiences. And like one of the things that this COVID time is doing is it's actually like putting us in a place where we have to be introspective, like because we spend a lot more time alone than we used to before this happened. And like I don't want to cast the impression that sometimes like I don't get depressed or anything when I can't be around my family and friends. But one thing it's doing positively is it's making me more introspective and giving me that much more material to start putting into the work that I was making, before. So I mean, I think it'll really add some depth to what comes out of this, at least for my practice, and I really think for everybody's. I mean, if you use this time, I think it'll be a good thing. But is it tough? Does it require a lot of resilience, like to keep going? Yes, yes, it does.
Right. I couldn't imagine not evolving and having work that is not shallow, and how pretty or colorful becomes meaning in this time, because it's such as people who are living through it in the future, it's going to be such an amazing moment to talk about. But it's horrible. It's horrible being here. But 10, 30, 40 years is going to be like, I was there and it was crazy. You hear about things, how it changes the world, and COVID, we've seen our world change in 7 months. Like the way we work, the way we shop, the way we do everything has changed, and we had nothing to do with it. We had nothing to do with it. It's so crazy. So looking forward to the future. So who has shows coming up?
I have some work at Carroll Mansion right now, hosted by the Peel, and it's called The Rights and Wrongs exhibition, about bringing attention to individuals' experiences that paved the way for, people who really weren't represented that well in women's suffrage, and bringing that forward for those who felt like their votes didn't matter, or they didn't have the chance. Oh, we're running low on time. Didn't have the chance to say what they wanted for their communities. So making sure that we kind of disrupt the common narrative of who's included and who created the systems we currently live in, because a lot of Black individuals did that sort of work as well. So it's a really cool exhibition. Has a lot of artists, some in Baltimore City, some in the neighboring counties, even in other states. So it's a really cool show. It'll be up till December.
All right.
Yeah, I'm currently this is going into the last week of the Bethesda Painting Awards. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, that'll be up. And other than that, I'm just working, just trying to make more stuff.
So yeah, we want to congratulate Christopher on being a finalist for that award. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really good. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Will, what's going on? You must have shows coming up. You seem like such.
Well, right now,
You seem like such a
Who, me?
such a good. I remember I was at what was it? Carroll? Is it Carroll County? I was at a
Yeah, Carroll County.
and I was like, oh, that's Will. You had just had a solo show up there, and it was like, he's on it. I
Nah,
love it.
you know, I have work up right now on the first floor of Topside, Hotel Revival, in
Okay.
Baltimore. That show is ending on October 31st. That's it, man. I've been resting. I've really been resting and trying to take care of my mental, reading a lot, digging into the philosophy behind all of this stuff and the reason we do what we do.
Right.
So I'm excited. I just got a brand new book for my birthday, so I'm excited.
What's your new book?
I finally well, the book is Bell Hooks' Art on My Mind,
Right.
Visual Politics.
Right.
So I'm really excited to dig into that. I read like the first couple of pages, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good.
Right. Well, that sounds like it.
I'm
That
excited.
sounds like that's going to be a good one. Right. I just picked up some books from Sanzi during our artist tour. She was giving away some books. Yes, give them here. I'll take them.
Yeah. Man,
Free
So,
book.
Kayla, I know you're, what?
Oh, my bad. I was just saying, like, yeah, audio books too. I've been heavy on audio books this summer.
Oh, really?
Podcasts too are great. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We're trying-
I'm addicted to Throughline on NPR. Oh my god.
Right. There's another one on
This
NPR that I
podcast.
love. Right. I think that's something that we're trying to explore at BOPA, a podcast. Get into everything contemporary and what that looks like. Because there are some podcasters here in Baltimore. Do we want to partner? Do we want to create our own? How does that work? So Kayla, I know you have things coming up with Hot Sauce. You're going to be doing some more exhibition, not only for yourself but others, which is always wonderful.
Yes. So today I did mine and Chima. We both did at a lot in Jubilee. But then we also have next week, we have Alex and Kyrie. No. I can't think of the name right. Forgive me for not having the other artist's name. They'll be doing next week. No, it's Raquel. That's next week. Raquel and Alex is next Saturday. So Raquel and Alex is next Saturday, same time, 3 to 6. And we actually, as a group, we're supposed to be having a group exhibition, a hot sauce group exhibition in November. So that's something that's supposed to be coming up. And that's basically, for me, that's basically it. We're going to cool down a bit for December, enjoy the holidays, prepare in January, and then February, we're supposed to be having a pop-up in Prince George's County. So we have a couple of different things going and preparing for the spring too, because we have a couple of different sites for pop-ups in the spring. So it's a lot. I want to slow down myself. I can't wait for December. That's my birthday month too. So I'm trying to really relax, get into my practice, get into all the ideas and put them on canvas. And
I want to put it out there, VOPA, we're working on in December, Jackie Downs, my director, the business of art. So stay tuned for that. And it's going to be all about how you promote your art, promote your practice, promote yourself. And so, that's my background too, is in working with emerging artists, specifically and unsung artists. So in order to give them that platform, I always find that it's really important to have publicity and be professional and send out marketing materials that look professional. It really does help. And I'm sure you've, as artists, seen other artists, and you're like, not that they don't do good work or quality work, but you're wondering like, well, how did they get ahead? It's generally usually through some sort of promotional tool that they used, and that like put them over. So that's going to be a really excellent panel for all artists and people. You don't have to be artists, but people who entrepreneurs probably who need that sort of free advice, because hiring a publicist is quite expensive, or a marketing firm, and again, to do it and make it professional. So that's going to be the business of art, and that's in December. So we're going to wrap it up here, and I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. I want to thank our sponsors again, Reka Vodka and the Maryland State Council of the Arts. It is, like I said, a pleasure to work with you. You're all featured in B 2020 this year, and it has been so well received. Within 24 hours, we had people trying to buy the art. I think, Will, you were the first person someone reached out to try to buy the art. I mean, it's like, and I think since then we've had like 4 people reach out to buy the art. So the show is very successful. People love the look of it. Yeah, it was amazing. And you guys are, this, you're so talented, and it's so nice that everyone's doing their own thing, but you all, again, as the curator looking in, Baltimore in general is creating this sort of epicenter of art, and you guys are important to it. So you have to know that, and everyone will get their shine. How it comes and how it manifests for you, we don't know. That remains, but I truly believe that, and it's going to happen. And I'm going to do my part to work with you. And BOPA is here, and that's why panels like this help, not just us, but the people listening, because your story is so important. Every time I go to an artist studio, I learn something about the artist that is absolutely fascinating, and that you would never know, and except for talking with them. So it's really important, and I'm glad you guys said yes to join us tonight and to be a part of a virtual talk, because this is probably the future, going forward. This is the innovation, right? Even though, like I said, the innovation has been around for like years, but until it's forced and you have to, we take it slow.
We don't want that.
We want to go forward. So
where you mask? Go back outside.
Yeah, wear your mask.
Let's go outside.
And I want to encourage our viewers to definitely go to everyone's website. Go to everyone's website. Go look at the B 2020, and you can get in touch with me and the artists. And they have art for sale. They're all collectible artists. Get it now. So thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thanks,
all right.